Hello, and welcome to another episode of PODSHOTS. In this episode, we drink Stella Artois while we're joined by Hadyn Wiseman, a chartered accountant better known for his YouTube and Instagram videos of himself performing martial arts, tricking, powerlifting, and other very impressive feats. We talk with him about the tricking phenomenon and how it started, extreme sports, our mutual love for pushing ourselves to the limit, and much more. If you like this episode, please head over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a positive rating and review. We would really appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the amazing Hadyn Wiseman. Hadyn and I haven't ever spoken before, but I've been like a fan for a while, because I don't know where I saw your I don't know how that sounds. It might sound funny, but it's true, man. I mean, nowadays you can see what other people are doing and like follow them, and it's totally normal. Before, that was like unheard of. Yeah. So but I don't know where I originally saw your stuff. I think I'd been watching Juji Mufu's stuff, right? And somehow I got to a video of a guy called Clarence Kennedy, which I know you're friends with. And then I saw your videos too, and I was like, this is like a little clique of just tricking people. So that's how I originally found your stuff.
We kind of all got started in like weightlifting. Clarence only started weightlifting to try and like help his tricking. And all the trickers like only weightlifted because Juji said it was like better for tricking. It turns out it's not, but now there's like a ton of really good weightlifters and powerlifters that were born out of that kind of by accident. So it's pretty cool, really.
Yeah, Clement, when you were telling me that he was tricking, I was like, okay, what do you mean tricking? Like he's tricking people, or he's a person that does something called tricking?
Yeah.
And then I looked at it and I was like, oh, sweet.
Yeah, I really wish it was called something else, because this is confusing. It's supposed to be.
Yeah, I was looking it up.
Yeah.
I was looking it up, and because I mean, I don't know anything about it really. I just know that it looks cool and it's fun to watch, especially on like Instagram or any of those other platforms which are visual. So I looked it up today, and I was thinking, okay, so they say it's a new thing. Like, when did you actually get involved with it? Because I don't think it's that new, right?
No, it was in like 2005. So way back then, there was no YouTube, there was no Instagram. I don't think there was even Facebook. And I happened to like stumble across a Juji Mufu tutorial on some random website. That was like dial-up internet connection days, and kind of went outside and just sort of tried to learn backflips. I remember I was at school once, and like I was trying to learn it and just like landed on my face in front of like the whole school. That was pretty embarrassing. But yeah, back then you could backflip, you were like a god. Like no one could do it. Now with Instagram, like everyone does flips and stuff. But yeah, it's been around a while. It started because like I don't know if you've ever seen those like martial arts tournaments where people do freestyle forms and stuff. People started doing like jump kicks, and eventually someone added a backflip, and then people were like, oh, that's cool, I want to learn that. And then like there used to be like a separation of martial arts trickers, and then what they were called was backyard trickers, where people would just go out and teach themselves. So that's kind of how it was born.
Yeah, okay, interesting. Because I do know about that. I used to do martial arts quite a lot when I was younger, so I know all about like katas, and there's also dance katas and stuff like that. And then you have certain styles that are more acrobatic than others, like Taekwondo is pretty acrobatic compared to like, I don't know, Aikido or something.
Wushu as well is like movie martial arts. So quite a few tricking moves come from Wushu.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, so that's cool. So it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like, you know, those people who do football tricks, but they're not necessarily good footballers, but they know exactly how to like make it look cool when they're messing around with the football. Is that basically what you're saying? So you take like martial arts and then you take the acrobatic. Yeah, kind of.
The best way to describe it is just like that it's completely freestyle acrobatics on flat ground only. So that's what separates it from like free running and stuff. Free runners use objects and roofs and blocks. Trickers kind of only use the floor, and you can do whatever you want with that. You could have like a predominantly breakdancing style, or you could have like a martial arts style, or a gymnastic style, or a twisty style. It's kind of like a personal preference. So yeah, are we starting these Stellas now? Got mine down here somewhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think we already started way ahead of you. We used to actually drink. Well, we still do, don't we? I mean, we used to drink hard shots, right?
But we do a lot of it, and we'd be pretty far gone by the time the episode was over.
Yeah, that was the beginning of PODSHOTS. That's why we called it PODSHOTS, because we just knocked them back throughout the entire interview. I don't remember how many I got to, what my record is, but I think probably did about 8 shots once in one episode, and I was pretty good at the end of that one.
I thought it was like 4 or 5. Did we really do 8 shots once?
I don't know about you, but I think I did, man. I might have been doing them off camera or something.
English people,
I can see that.
It's pretty low. I think you could definitely.
Yeah. I was in the gym earlier. It was not a paid session. I'm not going to be held accountable for going to a gym on lockdown, paying as a customer. But my friend has a gym, and we just went and trained in there this morning. Yeah. And we were talking about national stereotypes. So identities you kind of have to carry around with you no matter what you do. It's just something. And I was saying that the British people have the stereotype of like going to another country, drinking too much, getting into a fight. And it's just unfortunately one of those things that you have to carry around with you. But yeah, we like to drink a lot. I think the Irish drink the most though, right?
Yeah, apparently. It sounds right.
Apparently. Yeah, we probably shouldn't do a test to figure it out. But yeah, so we've been doing that. Huh?
We could do an episode and go to Ireland and test it out. That'd be
fun. Maybe we should do that, man. That would be fun. So Conor McGregor. We could get Clarence on with Hadyn as well.
Yeah, that would be cool.
So how did you guys? Okay, so how did you meet this group then? Were you the first one that started? And then like Clarence got involved, and then you met Juji, or I don't know how it works because you guys are part of the same ecosystem.
Yeah, kind of. So before YouTube and everything else, Juji Mufu used to run a website that was called trickstutorials.com, and that had like a forum. So everyone had their forum username, and everybody used to chat there. So there were sections like tips for tricks. There was a weightlifting section, all this stuff. So everybody knew each other from their usernames. And Clarence's was Clarence Zero, which is what his YouTube channel name is now. That's where that came from. So occasionally people used to do like gatherings as well, is what they called them, where everyone would just go and meet up. And because everyone only knew each other from their like online usernames, everyone would just call each other by these like ridiculous names. And people kind of met that way. I never met Clarence at one of those, but someone else that used to be on that forum moved to Norwich and wanted to do like a collaboration with Clarence. So they invited them down, which is where I live in Norwich, invited Clarence down to do this collaboration, but didn't have a room for him to stay in. They asked me if I could like host him. And I said, yeah, of course. Never met him before, but met him through this forum. And then he was like, oh yeah, I'm a fan of yours. And I was like, oh yeah, me too. Well, here's a room, stay in there. And then he stayed for like a week. We made some videos, and then a year later, I traveled to his to kind of do the same thing. And that's pretty much it. Yeah.
How many people are that you know of do this? Like, what's the size of this industry? Let's call it.
Number of trickers. I think there's like probably like 5,000 or so. There's a Facebook group for it that everyone's on, and it's got like 5,000 members. I'm gonna see if I can see it. But half of them are like fake accounts.
Oh yeah,
I think it's like it's not many.
Yeah, so it's a pretty small, and that's a really small group. The reason why I ask is because it's so visually unique. Like you've seen you've seen bits of it before, but you've never really seen it all put together. Like it's breakdancing, it's martial arts, and it's just like acrobatics. But it's so entertaining and it's so impressive as well. I mean, I was saying to my friend earlier, it's not the kind of thing you can just start doing. It's not like picking up a guitar and starting to play the guitar, if you know what I mean, because you need that muscle and you need that flexibility and that kind of
it puts a lot of people,
awareness.
it looks really hard, but I think it looks harder than it is. Like there's such a like different levels of moves, and some are so low that like anyone could learn them. And like there's all kinds of shapes of people that do it. There's really skinny people, there's some fat people. Like I've got a friend who's like 120 kilograms or something. He's my height. I'm 5'6", and he can backflip, he can do all butterfly twist, all these like quite hard moves. And he's like a big guy. So I don't think you necessarily need to have like an athletic background. And I didn't either. I was like a skinny little kid and just kind of threw myself around and eventually learned how to do it. I think the main like barrier to entry is no one knows how to go about learning it or what moves to start with. And all they see people doing all this complicated stuff. Oh yeah, I could never do that. But actually they could. It just takes time.
Yeah, I see. So because there's no real established kind of school for it. It's kind of like an underground thing. Did you learn from Jujimufu?
Like body or anything. There's like a few websites, but you have to know what they are before you start it and go there. It's not great for people to learn.
Do they have like any underground competition for this kind of stuff, or is it all just kind of a street activity?
Yeah, they have so the competitions are like in the form of battles. So when they have a gathering, so there's a big one in Amsterdam every December. It's not happening this year, obviously, but it has for the last like 6 years or so. And there's like 1,000 people that go there. They have like 5 gymnastic sprung floors. They have a trampoline park. They have all this cool stuff. And there's like, 1,000 of us in there. And they'll have like heats and then where people will battle each other. So there'll be like 5 people on the floor doing moves. Judges will pick the best 2 out of each heat, and those will go through the final, which will be a one-on-one battle. And it's pretty professionally done, to be fair. They have like a big screen, and it's all as the judges vote, you can see which judges voted for who. And most votes wins each battle, and it's like a knockout style tournament. And then the winner gets like money and like some merchandise and stuff like that. They also have like Red Bull Kick It, which is, I think that's televised. And they basically do like hold up like martial arts pads, and people do like backflips and kick them. It's like whatever the most crazy move is to kick these blocks.
So so do you see that tricking is going to be like much bigger in the near future, or do you think it's kind of just continue to be like an underground thing? Because you said it's been around since 2005, right?
Yeah, I think it will stay quite underground just because the name is kind of stupid and people have tried to brand it before. If anyone hears the name tricking, like, I don't know what that is. Like it sounds stupid to me, and I do it. And again, people think it's really hard when they look at it, so not many people take it up. And you've got free running and parkour, which are more popular, so people are more likely to go to them first. Maybe they'll transition over later. So it won't be popular, and I don't think it will get much more popular, but people will always see it because it's always in movies now. And like video games, all the motion capture in like fighting games and like the Spider-Man game, that's all just a tricker with some motion capture stuff on him, just doing the moves. So people will see the moves.
I feel like this would be really good for like the movie industry too, and like Hollywood. Like if that was like a program people could do to learn different moves and like consult with people in the tricking industry.
So there are a few people that are like OGs back in the day, and now they are like a stunt team, and they're in like every movie. So when I go and watch like a Marvel film or some superhero film, I'm constantly seeing some tricker that from way back in the day. It's like, oh man, it's so weird. Like someone I don't know them, but I kind of know them, is just doing movies all the time now. So there's definitely roots in. If you can not get injured over like a 10-year span, which is the hardest bit.
Oh my God, there's so many questions I have.
Have you injured yourself before? Or is there like a common thing that you do injure when you do it?
when I was younger, I used to be a lot less careful than I am now. Because when you're young, I could just throw myself on the ground, get back up, I'd be fine. But eventually I'd like get, an ankle sprain here and there. And then the worst one I did was I tore my ACL in my knee, and had to have that like reconstructed. I did that twice. That was like definitely the biggest one. And then since then, I've been like a lot more careful. Like I wouldn't train really hard or try really dangerous things if I like have any niggles or pains already. But yeah, back in the day, I used to get injured all the time. And most trickers injured or have been injured at some point. It's just a dangerous sport.
Yeah, because when you mentioned free running rather, and you were saying that that's more popular, which I agree, it is. You see it everywhere now. But if it was me, I would probably not want to get into that first, because I feel like you can die doing that, Whereas with tricking, you're like, you could hurt your leg, you could whatever, but you're not going to fall off into a ravine or something, from like 50 feet.
No one really dies. I don't know anyone that's died doing tricking. But free running, yeah, there have been people die. But I think like, again, there's levels to it. You could easily start on like a little wall down your street, like jump in between them or whatever. You don't have to go to the rooftops or things that are dangerous. Free running, like you don't really go upside down or do many flips when you start. It's just jump in between gaps. So it's much easier to just pick up and go out and learn, especially if you have friends that already do it. Whereas tricking, because it's like predominantly flips and twists, that puts people off, because if they were to pick between like free running and tricking, they would think tricking is more dangerous because you're actually going upside down, even though that's not the case.
Yeah. Speaking of people that you said had like a cornered the market with tricking, I remember ever since I was watching like martial arts or movies that had martial arts scenes in them, I think one actor has done that really well. You probably know this guy. His name is Ray Park, and he's just been in like tons of. He's Darth Maul in what's that one, the Phantom Menace or something, or I can't remember the first one.
Star Wars.
Yeah, Ray Park is like the OG of just tricking, but he's a by trade, he's like a really good martial artist, and he kind of cornered the market. So he was in like G.I. Joe, he was in the Snake Eyes character, he was in Star Wars, he's been in a bunch of movies too. I think he's getting a bit on now though, so it's not going to be the case anymore. But have you ever thought about, I remember I commented on one of your videos and I was like, hey, have Marvel called you yet?
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about it?
In a Marvel film, like doing some stunts in the background. Doesn't happen that often because I have like a normal, boring, everyday job. But before that job, I used to have an agent and I used to do things like adverts and shows. So probably the best one was the Olympic ceremony. So I was like a professional cast acrobat in that. That was cool. And since then, I've been asked occasionally, like, I have a friend that does it, and he asked if I wanted to come and help him on like the Dumbo film. They did a live action remake for Disney,
right.
Because that's all like circus stuff. I think they had a load of people doing tumbling in the background, but I have to like decline all these job offers because I already have like my normal 9-to-5 job. And these things come up, like you might have a performing job for like 3 months and then nothing for 6 months. Although it's good pay, you have to be really disciplined if you want to spread it out, and it's just risky.
I see. What job do you have right now?
I'm a chartered accountant for like a Big 4 finance firm. So okay. I work in audit at the moment. So I basically go around to big businesses and check that their accountants are doing everything properly and haven't made any mistakes, basically, before their annual financial statements go out.
I hate numbers. It's not fun.
I can't stand numbers either. But it sounds like you're very down to earth and logical, because many people who have the skills and talents that you have to be able to do this would be like taken away by the magic of the industry. Oh my God, yeah, I'm going to be in movies. Oh my God, yeah, I can do this. And they would probably, maybe leave what they're doing. But it sounds to me like you know exactly what the situation is. But having said that, like, would you ever consider doing it full time if you know you could get like maybe
I would if I had a passive income source. So if I had like money that was going to get me by whether I worked or not, whether that was like rental income or something like that, then if these opportunities ever come up, I can be like, yeah, I'll take that, and I can do a job for a week, a month, whatever it might be. And if I ever get injured or whatever, it doesn't matter because I can still afford to live. So if I could ever get to that point, then yes. Otherwise, I think it's a bit risky. I don't really know. It would be cool. It was definitely fun when I did it. But I don't know, like you said, my logical mind says no.
Well, you're a chartered accountant. I mean, logic is your thing, I guess. Yeah, man, that sounds reasonable. I mean, I was watching, I mean, I think it's totally possible, and this is probably going off on a tangent, but I was watching a guy, he's probably about your age, Brandon, what, like 25, 26?
26, maybe.
All he talks about is just financial education. You probably know this guy. I think I've sent you one of his clips before. And he was just, I can't remember his name. I'll get it. But he made a video basically saying how he's going to document his journey to $1 million next year in investments, sponsorships, and something else. But like, and so he's just doing YouTube, and he showed on the screen like what YouTubers make now in terms of like advertising revenue. And he showed that the financial industry has just gone like really high. Like all of the keywords for the finance industry are just super high. So I don't know, man. I mean, I was just thinking if you're in the financial industry, if you wanted to get into having a passive income, YouTube would pay pretty well, right?
Well, it's very competitive, and your reputation and finances, you know, it's like walking on eggshells. Because if you get something wrong, there's so much competition out there, you're kind of shot. So you have to know what you're doing. You have to be reliable. It's not necessarily fun. Like there's a lot of work that goes into that, but you can make a lot of money with those keywords if you're doing videos like on YouTube. You really got to make shit.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a bit risky as well, I guess. You're right. Why did you get into this, Hadyn? Like, who were your childhood kind of role models? Because I'm assuming you were into like martial arts before.
Yeah. I don't know. I was a kid. I used to love anything superhero. I used to watch the Ninja Turtle movies quite a lot. Power Rangers, all those things. I didn't even know this existed, obviously, until I like stumbled across it and realized I could actually do it myself. I don't know if I had any like really individual heroes. I did have a few like people I really wanted to meet off these forums. But the problem with that is you get like an image of someone in your head that you've created when you try to put them as your hero or whatever. And then you go meet them in real life. They're not that person. And then you're a bit like, it's kind of what I looked up to is not how it really is. And when that happened a few times, I was like, okay, I'm not going to put anyone on a pedestal and just try and set like the best example for myself and kind of just be my own hero and try and, you know, do all the things that I would look up to if I was the younger me. That's the way I kind of see it nowadays.
Yeah. No, you're right.
For acrobatics, I always used to look up to Bruce Lee and Jet Li and Jackie Chan. I don't know, they were huge when I was growing up.
I'd say Jackie Chan if I had to pick one. Like I used to love the Rush Hour movies. When I saw them, I went back and watched all of his old ones before that, and he was always a beast. Like, yeah, he's good.
Yeah, that stuff was huge on the West Coast.
Yeah, well, anywhere. I mean, it was those kinds of movies. Police Story. You've got the Way Up the Dragon, wasn't it, with Bruce Lee? I mean, Enter the Dragon. That's right. Jesus, oh God. But yeah, he. Those guys were like my heroes too, and that's what got me into. And dare I say, Jean-Claude Van Damme and some other. Yeah, maybe Steven Seagal a little bit, but mostly the more like acrobatic ones I really liked, and that got me into martial arts. Yeah, so that those were the golden. I think those were the golden years growing up. It's a shame that the Lee family, like, you know, Bruce and Brandon died, you know, before their time, because I think they would have been proper legends like by now, you know.
They are.
Well, they are. Well, actually, you've got a good point there. Maybe they wouldn't have been as big as they are now if they had lived. Yeah.
Who knows? They could have fucked up doing something the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Or so.
Yeah. Isn't that like a Tupac song? It's like, you know, you got to die early to be like a legend or something. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, the more time you live, the more time you have to fuck something up, and then you're.
Nowadays, people will jump on anything you do wrong and publicize it everywhere.
Yeah, Bruce Lee would be cancelled by now.
Bruce Lee would get cancelled in 2020.
That would be so sad. He couldn't even kick his way out of that. Speaking of which, like, have you heard that Tyson and Tyson's going to fight again soon?
Yeah.
I'm
Roy
really excited.
He's fighting.
Roy Jones doing it.
Yeah. So I think Tyson will probably win. He looks pretty scary from his training footage.
He's in good shape. I've seen some videos of him hitting that bag, and he looks pretty damn good.
Like 50 years old. Yeah,
you know, I think they tricked Roy. I think they tricked Roy a little bit with that setup, because I was watching Joe Rogan interview him, and Roy was basically saying that they contacted him and they said that Mike wanted to have a fight in like 6 weeks. Are you up for it? And he was like, and he knew what Mike's physical situation was, and he was like, he hasn't been fighting anywhere near. He hasn't been fighting as much as I have over the last however many years. And he was like, I can do this. I think I can be in better condition than him in 6 weeks from now. And then what they did was they pushed it back and back and back, and it gave Mike time to like. And I don't know. I mean, I'll be honest, man, if I was Roy, and I'm not Roy, and he's obviously a really good fighter, but I would be a little bit concerned because Mike does look really fucking on point right now.
Yeah, what I want to see is getting into the ring, like if his mentality flips, because he hasn't boxed in a long time, and he's talked about like openly, like on like Joe Rogan and on different interviews and documentaries, how he's kind of like shaped his whole persona to get away from that. I'm curious if you can flip that switch again and then just turn into an absolute beast and just walk in and knock him out. Like, I'm wondering if he's the same guy.
It looks like he has, but I guess we'll find out.
Because for a while, he's just been smoking weed and hanging out. He doesn't want to fight. He just wants peace and love. And now he wants to get back in the ring. I'm like, who pissed him off? What's going on?
Yeah, no, but he was smoking weed to calm down. And he said that's what helps him really stay, you know, normal, like civil. So the fact that he hasn't smoked for a while should probably scare Roy. They come after his ass with.
I didn't realize he stopped smoking weed before the fight.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even smoke weed, but I know what impact it has and how it can chill you out. So I would imagine he's on fire right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you were saying earlier about how you just actually, before I move on to that, you did an MMA fight, right? Or have you done more than one?
Charity one.
Okay.
That was so I used to, when I was a kid, I did karate when I was like 4 years old until I was about 18. So a long time. But it was like proper traditional karate.
What kind?
It was called Wado-ryu. It's a bit like Shotokan.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, I used to do Shotokan.
Yeah, and like that was actually a really good base for tricking, because I would just, because it was traditional, it was just like doing round kicks all the time, side kicks all the time, front kicks, no jump kicks, but just I had done so many repetitions of them that my hips would just be in the right place when I moved on to like doing tricking and acrobatic kicks. That really helped. And then I did boxing for like a year when I was in high school. And then I just saw an advert on Instagram, like, what was it, like 2 years ago now, for a charity MMA fight. So I kind of clicked the button just to be like, put my details in. It was like, I assumed I would like have a gap before I then signed up, but it just signed me up straight away. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm doing this now. It was like 10 weeks free training. And then like a full on cage fight with like a massive audience at like some TV studio. It was good experience, proper, really hard cardio wise. Yeah, I won. That was probably one of the hardest things I've done, actually.
Yeah, like run me through like what it was like to lead up to that, because I've never actually thought about doing a fight, and every time I see it, like maybe like a newcomer or someone who's just like doing it for the first time, I'm always wondering how they feel, because their adrenaline must be just through the roof, you know?
Yeah, that's the craziest bit. Like leading up during the training was fine. You don't know who you're going to have to fight. And it attracts like a big mix of people. So you get some people that are like proper rough and love fighting and have been fighting, or some people that have already done boxing and just want to have a fight, but have never, done an MMA fight or whatever. And you get some people that are just completely unathletic, have never done any exercise in their lives, but have signed up because it's for charity. And they tried to pay you off as evenly as possible. I ended up getting some guy that was like a boxer. And I'd say we were pretty evenly matched. I was fine up until I got paired with him, and I was like, oh, this is actually going to be hard. Like I might lose this. And then walking down to the ring, it's like weird. Everything like blurs away, and you just look at the cage, walk down, and the adrenaline's so high. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard of something called an adrenaline dump. You'll like go really hard, and then your adrenaline supply will run out. And it's like from such a massive high to just bang, like nothing. And then it kicks in that you have no oxygen left, and you're like, oh my God, I'm not even through a round yet. And yeah, and mine went it was 3 rounds. Mine went all the way to the distance. And after the fight, I couldn't walk. I couldn't like breathe. I was just down in like pints of water. It's proper strange experience, almost like being ill. Like everything was like vibrating.
Wow.
But yeah, now when I watch UFC and I watch them try and be like a bit calmer and pace themselves, it makes a lot of sense. It's crazy fitness requirements, way more than I expected.
Yeah, I used to play football, so I know what it's like from an adrenaline point of view. That was probably crazy. I bet those rounds felt like they were going forever.
Yeah, they did. And they do like a clapper 10 seconds before the end. So I had quite a big turnout, like a crowd, and there was like a railing, like a metal fence thing that people had to stand behind. And I was on the floor, and everyone was banging on this like metal fence, and I was like, oh, there's the clapper. It's only 10 seconds left. And then like I thought, 10 seconds has gone by, it hasn't stopped yet. What's going on? And then I heard another clap, and that proper threw my timing off. Yeah, it's really hard to have any concept of how long you've gone, how long's left. But yeah, it was good.
What do you think drives most of that adrenaline? Because it's, like consciously, it's like a measured experience. Like nothing's ever going to get too serious. Nothing's ever going to go crazy. So, because I would also feel the same way. Definitely. But I'm trying to figure out like, what is it that drives? Is it the fear of failure, or is it the fear of like just survival, or is it a mixture of both?
I think it's just built into us psychologically. It's just like if you want to go and approach a hot girl and ask them out, it's like there's no reason to be scared. Like she's not going to beat you up. Nothing's going to happen, but you're still nervous to do it. It's just built into us, like from caveman days. If you go into another tribe or somewhere you don't know, you could die. I think that's just hardwired in as a survival mechanism.
Yeah. I've been reading a lot about kind of evolutionary, I guess you would call it biology, and how we make decisions and, what drives us, because it fascinates me. And I think that a lot of the stuff that's happening today is coming from a very deep kind of primal behavior. We don't really think things through enough, I think, and we end up in these situations where we're fighting for things we don't even understand anymore. But it's definitely, I think, one of those that probably changed you a lot as a person, I would imagine, after doing that.
Maybe, but I mean, I've been in those adrenaline situations before from doing like tricking and stuff. So like when I went for my first like double backflip, that was like probably just as much of a buzz. And in the same vein, I could actually die doing this if it goes really wrong. So that kind of helped in a way.
What does a double backflip like? Because are you just like standing on the ground and then you're going to do like a double, or do you have to spring into it? Is that why you can die?
Yeah, so I did a run up into it. There's like a few people that can do it from standing now on ground, and that's only happened in the last couple of years. There's like 5 or 6 people that can do it. But it's just like, because you have to rotate twice in one jump, if you do hit your neck, there's just way more force that's going to go through it, because it's you're spinning twice as fast. And for your first one, there's not really any way to get around it unless if you have a foam pit, you can kind of learn it slowly. But I didn't have a foam pit, so it was just like I had to just go straight in at the deep end and risk doing it on floor. Luckily I landed it, but yeah, it's so scary.
Jesus. I've seen these videos of Go ahead, Brendan.
No, I was just saying it's terrifying.
Yeah. I've seen videos of people just wipe out completely. I mean, it looks like they're ready to do whatever they're going to do, and they've planned this out because they've got to kind of like they're moving into it, and then they'll do the flip. It's usually like a forward or a back flip, and they'll just knock themselves out cold because they didn't even go far enough to move past their head. And I'm wondering, what the hell is going through these guys' heads that makes them, I mean, because it seems like they don't even know how to do it, and they're doing it and then they're knocking themselves out. I don't know, man. It does look dangerous. I mean, yeah, I don't know what drives some people to do that, but good. Yeah, good for you, man. I mean, how often do you train for like tricking to keep that developing as a skill?
So at the moment, not much because of lockdown. All the gymnastic gyms are like closed, and they have been since March when all the shit happened. So like right now, it's like none, because like the only way I can do it is if I go and do it outside, and it's just wet and miserable. So it's just more risky to like slip and stuff. So before, it was at least 3 times a week. So I'd go to the gymnastics center. It'd be indoors. I'd have a sprung floor. I'd have a foam pit. So it was safe to learn. And I'd have like, a big plan that I'd follow. But since everything locked down, I was just like, damn, I can't really do this anymore. So what do I do to stay motivated? So that's now I've decided to just do powerlifting until summer hits round again. And then in summer, I can like trick outside, at least on the grass when it's warm.
Yeah.
But yeah, now I'm trying to break all the UK records for powerlifting, which is going to be a big ask, but I've got like 6 months to do it. I think I can do it.
Break the powerlifting record for the UK?
Yeah, so I always used to like trick more in summer and just lift in winter. I originally started lifting to support tricking like Clarence did and like many others did back in the day. Over the years, got pretty strong. Everyone was telling me to do a powerlifting competition. And I was like, I'm not really bothered about competing. And then eventually one winter, I was like, okay, I'm actually going to train pretty hard this winter and sign up to a competition. So I did that, but that's when the virus hit. The first competition got cancelled, but I'd done all the training. So I did the lifts in my garage and got pretty high numbers that would be really competitive. Obviously, it's not official because it's not a proper competition. And then when this second lockdown happened, and now we're in winter again, I've decided, okay, I'm going to do even longer now training and see if I can improve on what I did before. And if I can improve on it by just a bit, then I could probably get number 1 in my weight class in the UK. Maybe. I'm hoping. Anyway.
What's your best powerlifting lift?
So my best squat so I'm in the 75 kilo weight category. So you have to weigh between 67.5 and 75 kilograms. My best squat was 250 kilograms. My best bench was 155 kilograms. And my best deadlift was 302 kilograms. If I could get those lifts again, so the biggest total that's ever been done in the UK in my weight class is 700 kilograms. And that would, if I did that again, that would beat it. So I did a competition like probably a month ago, just before lockdown happened, which was a qualifying one for the British Championships. And I hit like the qualifying total I needed to get an entry into this next competition, which is in May. So I've had a call with a coach to try and get all my programming perfect for the next 6 months to try and see if I can get the record. Yeah.
God damn. That sounds pretty impressive. What does the training look like for that? Like, I mean, how do you stop yourself from getting injured? Because we're talking about significant like loads here, stuff that can rip tendons and muscles and things.
So I think I'm kind of lucky that in that I have a really good base. So with tricking, like the impact going through my joint is way more than it would be lifting. So I've built them up over the last, 15 years or whatever it is. The training is basically, you'll have what's called a split, which is like squat Monday, bench Monday, deadlift Wednesday, whatever it is throughout the week. And generally for strength training, for like powerlifting, the reps will be quite low and the weight will be high, which is opposite to bodybuilding. You normally just, blast loads of reps and sets. And what will happen is you'll have like training set in a block. So it might be a 4-week block or a 6-week block, whatever it is. In the start of that block, you'll have quite high reps. And as you go through, it will, the reps will decrease and the weight will go up. And then you'll have what's called like a peak week, which will be where you'll hit like a 1 rep max. You then have a deload week, and then you'll start a new block based off of a higher starting lift.
Shit. Okay. Yeah. Going to the gym with you must be an emasculating experience.
Well, I have a gym in my garage now, but I never really go to the normal gym. I do sometimes when it's open, I do go down there. It's quite funny just being in like a normal gym environment, and then I'm squatting like 200 in the corner. Everyone's probably like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Thinking I'm gonna like break my knees or something. Yeah. I got a load of funny reactions from when Clarence came here, because he came to my house last year, and we just went to the normal gym. And because he has such a big following, loads of people are looking over, and you can tell they're thinking like, is that Clarence? I don't like, it can't be, because I live in like a small city that nobody really visits or knows about. And then when he starts lifting, people are like, okay, yeah, that is him. Fuck. So
they know him, they recognize him from online.
Most people come up to us in the gym, like asking for pictures and stuff like that. And
really?
Some of the reactions are so funny. Just see he lifts so much weight, it's just ridiculous. So you can see people looking over, and we've got so much footage of just like funny reactions where you can just see they're shocked.
That's cool. Yeah, I love that. What is it that you think drives you to do these things? Because it's not, I would say this kind of mindset is not normal. It's not a normal way to live life. Like, it takes a certain type of individual to want to break records and subject themselves to this much intensity in terms of like physical demands, mental demands. I know that it's mentally challenging too. What do you think it is that, like, were you always this way? Is this something you always wanted to figure stuff out?
No, I wasn't this way until I started tricking, I think. Like when I was a kid, I just lived in like a small village, not athletic. I was rubbish at sports at school. And then saw something that was cool as like a nerdy kid, like, martial arts, flips, awesome. Finding out like, oh, you can actually learn them and start with a really basic move and build it up. And back then, because the sport was so niche, nobody did it. Like I was the only one in my town or surrounding area that could do any flips. So once I got to that point, maybe my mindset was like, oh, cool, I'm really, really good at this. Like, I'm the only one in my area that does all these flips. And that made me kind of a bit more competitive, I suppose, realizing like, oh, I can actually be good at athletic stuff. And then I guess a natural progression, when I was doing the weightlifting or whatever, I got to the point where it's competitive, and I'm like, I could actually push this further and get some records. So I have, but I agree with you. Like, you probably can't have a normal mindset to do these things, but I just find normal life would be so boring. Like, I couldn't just watch TV and just do normal stuff. I have to try and be doing something that's extreme. I think everything I do is kind of a bit to the extreme, which can be a negative sometimes, but it's just how I am.
Yeah.
Did you start lifting? Were you young when you started, or was it more recent?
No, I think I was 16. So I started doing tricking when I was 15, and then college started when I was 16, and they had a gym at the college. It was just a little thing with a few weights. But just, by luck, one of my classmates went to the gym and was like, "I should come as well." And I knew that loads of these trickers, did it as well. So I was like, okay, I'll go and start. And then we just used to go together all the time. And then recently I've, bought some kit for my garage so I can do it myself. And just got really into it.
Sweet.
Yeah. You mentioned how it isn't normal. And I kind of, it makes me wonder why it's not normal, because competition to me is super healthy. And I think that's a really good driving force behind what makes humans, so unique. Like, we always want to figure stuff out and understand things and get better at stuff. And, you said, like, I can't imagine living a life which would be, like watching Netflix and I mean, I watch Netflix, right? But I don't watch it to the extent where I feel awful when I get off the chair, which is what most people probably do who watch, who live this kind of lifestyle. So I don't know. I just wanted to say that I feel like it's kind of weird that we're the exception, because like all three of us, I think, have that gene, if you know what I mean. Like, yeah. And you said it started for you when you realized you could actually do stuff that you didn't believe you could do.
Well, part of it was that I had to work for it. So I agree with you, but I think everyone that does just sit and watch TV, they do want all the positive things that come from doing the type of things I do. Like, if they could just have a magic pill and have all these talents, they would, 100% take it and they'd love it. But it takes like a lot of work, and they're just not willing to put in the work because it's like a negative for a long period of time. It's like delayed gratification. Everybody just wants instant gratification. So they'll watch Netflix and get their little dopamine hits, or they'll post an Instagram video, but they won't spend a load of time on something that's negative and going to make them feel bad, even though the reward at the end would be better. And I only learned that because from doing tricking when I was younger, thinking like, oh, I'll never be able to backflip. And then little by little built up, and it was hard work, but it happened. And I was like, oh, okay, if I actually put the work in, I can do it. And then I've kind of just carried that mentality into everything I've done. Whereas other people, I don't think will have had that tipping point where they learn that they can actually do what they want if they put the work in. I think that's the difference.
Yeah, I wonder why. What do you think we're in trouble, like as a kind of a race? Because I mean, looking back, and I don't know, because I've only lived in this generation, but when you look at the generations today, do you kind of wonder to yourself like where we're headed? Because I feel like a lot of people are just so soft today. I have been too.
I guess I've thought about this quite a lot, actually. And I think what happens is the people that are like soft or whatever, or have extreme views or whatever it might be, are the ones that will be on social media or on the platforms or on the news because it has shock value. But I think behind that, there's probably actually more people that are normal and want to progress at things and want to work hard. But that's never going to be publicized, because who wants to watch that? That's not interesting. So you're only ever going to see, like, I guess sometimes the negative side of things, or at least even if you saw both, you're probably only going to pay attention to the negative side because it will trigger something in you, and then you'll think, oh, everyone's lazy or stupid or whatever it might be. I'd like to have hope there's a lot of, cool, normal people out there.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll ever work as hard as our ancestors did. I think that's kind of a given. But I think the caveat to that is that in general, on average, I think we're a lot smarter. So maybe there's some benefit to, most people not having to work as gritty of a job or have to be as physically built or inclined, but that balances out with their intelligence. Not for everybody. Like I've seen people that are just soft and stupid, and then I've seen people that are like super built and super smart. So I mean, there's definitely a lot of peaks and valleys there on that curve, but I think overall that's where we're at as a race.
Yeah. I think probably, I hope the world won't end in our time, but there's always the possibility. I guess the way I see it, if the universe is infinite, we're just a tiny little speck in there that doesn't really matter or mean anything. It could all just be chance, like nobody knows. All we can do is experience what we do, so we might as well make the most of it while we can. That's my view on it.
Well, what do you think, Hadyn? Are we alone in the universe?
Definitely not. Like, we can only see out as far as light will travel and let us, and we don't really know what's past that. If it's infinite, it's going to go on forever. Like, stupid to think we're the only ones out there. I think at some point we'll probably discover some bacteria or something on a neighboring planet, and then it's confirmed we're not the only ones. And whether there's something way more intelligent that already knows about us and sees us as the bacteria, like, I think it's kind of an extremely slim chance that we are the only ones here.
Yeah, they probably, even if they're that advanced, they probably have even documented all of the shit that we've been up to.
Multiverses and shit, like that's a real thing. Like, there could be more and different timelines and everything. Like, nobody knows. Maybe we'll know one day. I think it's kind of weird because obviously we only experience like an impulse comes into our eye, and then our brain processes some image, and we only have organs that can sense these certain things. But those things might not even be real. It all could be an illusion. We could be a simulation. Maybe not. Like, I don't think anyone can ever answer it definitively. So
I think Elon Musk has a lot of ideas about this, doesn't he? Like I remember him telling, I think it was Joe, maybe not just Joe, but like other people too, that all of this could be a simulation.
The theory is that if you could build a simulation indistinguishable from reality, what says that you're not in a simulation right now?
It's terrifying, man. I thought about that the other day. I was walking down the street and I was thinking, is this actually happening to me, or am I just a program like experiencing this? And then I was like, yeah, but if I was a program experiencing this, why am I having these thoughts? And I was like, it's okay. I'm fine. I'm real. And then I don't know, man, it messes with your head. Like, it really could be all a simulation. I don't know why it would be, but
yeah, it's like determinism, isn't it? So in physics, you can break things down to fundamental particles like a muon or whatever they are. And if they're on a certain trajectory and they interact with each other and make a new chemical or particle or whatever, if you know those two particles trajectory and how they will interact, you could just write the rules into a computer, and then bam, you have a new particle. You know what's going to happen on and on and on from there. So just do that to every particle in the universe, code it on some computer, and then that computer will code it again and again and again.
Like, how sad would that be? Like, if life was nothing but this glorified fractal where you're just constantly reinventing VR that's indistinguishable from reality. And then everyone just goes right back to the beginning, and it just goes on until they discover VR again. And then they go right back to the beginning over and over again, this non-ending cycle.
It wouldn't bother me. Again, like that might be reality, but I'm lucky enough to be able to experience it in this normal way that I do, and just take the positives from it and live it out. And that's all I can do. So I might as well make the most of it.
Have you seen Westworld?
No.
Yep.
Westworld is a TV show. It's about a theme park. I'm trying not to spoil it for people, but it's been out for some time, so this is not a spoiler necessarily. But it's a theme park where there are robots in the theme park that don't know they're robots, and they're all just like, and there's different types of theme parks. So there's like a Western one, right, which is where they get the name from, and there's like a future one, there's a Japanese one, and so the protagonists, they go through these theme parks and they make relationships with.
Sounds like I need to watch this.
It's far more than that, though, Clement.
It's more than that. I'm not going to go into it, but essentially they write the program. They figured out the formula for a person based on big data. So these theme parks originally started with these kind of mechanical legacy robot kind of like things, and they were recording the interactions with the visitors so much that they figured out what makes someone, and they programmed that into their next iteration of robots, so that they're literally virtually indistinguishable. And it raises the question about like self-awareness and like when do you draw the line between artificial intelligence and yeah, it's crazy, man. I highly recommend it to anyone listening to this conversation who's genuinely interested to watch that show. It's a mind fuck, total mind fuck, actually.
Crazy one.
I'm gonna watch that at some point.
But yeah, like moving back to fitness and MMA and all the stuff that you've been doing for so much time, what do you think about social media and the fitness industry today, like compared to, I don't know, in the golden age we were talking about, where I grew up admiring Arnold Schwarzenegger and even people like Sylvester Stallone. And I say even people like Sylvester Stallone because he's obviously a huge star and he deserves so much credit for, you know, Hollywood and things like that. But I say even because he didn't really have, like, when you look at his physique in his prime, it was impressive. But for today's standards, man, like, it's nowhere near some of the everyday Joes you find on Instagram, just like doing workout videos and stuff.
Crazy.
So what are your thoughts about like where the fitness industry is now and what's driving it, and if it's healthy and what it means for us compared to like before?
I'm not like a massive fan, to be honest. Like, I appreciate the fact that it probably does a lot for the economy within itself. And it's like, there's obviously a lot of stuff that happened there. But I feel like it's so fake now on social media. Like, everyone is just, you know, posting pictures of their ass. Like, that's all girls do. I have no interest in that whatsoever. Then one good thing though, you get exposed to people that are actually, you know, training really hard and inspirational and whatever. And you just have to kind of filter out all the bad ones. I think I preferred it in the old days because things weren't like instant. Like, if I wanted to meet any trickers, I'd have to go and actually meet them. I wouldn't just, you know, chat to them on Instagram or whatever. But that's just the way it's going to go. It's going to continue to go like that. Yeah, I try not to get involved with it too much. I kind of just try to do my own thing. As long as I'm progressing, that's all I really care about. I'm not too worried about what anyone else is doing in the industry.
Yeah, you're a rare breed, I would say, to be honest, because you're very uniquely talented and skilled, and your kind of skill translates perfectly into a brand for like Instagram or for YouTube or whatever. I mean, look at Juji Mufu. I mean, so he's not just a trickster or tricker, but he's like insane physique as well, and he does all these nuts. I don't know what you think about the stuff he does, like, but it's very controversial, very kind of like how do you say this, it just makes you want to share it and remark on it. So he's obviously figured it out for him, but I don't know, I kind of look at him and I'm like, when are you going to run out of energy? Because his energy is through the roof.
Yeah, apparently he's just like that as well in real life. It's not fake for camera or whatever. Apparently off camera, he's just doing crazy shit like that all the time as well. But yeah, it's weird because back in the day when he had this tricks tutorials website, he'd like never post anything. If he did, it was like, oh my God, Juji's spoken. What has he said? And when it got too big and like Facebook and everything came out, he just shut that site down and everyone lost the forums and was like, oh, what do we do now? Like, and then a few different forums sprung up everywhere, but none of them really took off because it was way too segmented. And then he kind of just disappeared for a few years. And then out of the blue, he came back on YouTube and blew up. So it's weird. I don't know what he was doing in that gap between. He obviously didn't want any exposure or any attention.
Maybe it's a PR stunt. Build up some angst and some curiosity, and then he comes back out of nowhere, and then boom, blows up on YouTube.
The only people that knew him back then were trickers, and there's hardly any of those. And he wasn't that jacked or anything compared to what he is now. But it worked for him. It's good. He has some really entertaining content, so I'm glad that he did come back.
Yeah, me too, man. He's got some crazy videos, man. Very entertaining stuff. And he does these smelling salts now where you just sniff it and you're like ready to go. I've never tried it before. Have you ever tried it, Hadyn?
Once or twice, yeah. Only when friends have had it. It's like, I don't know whether I'm a fan or not. It's just like, just a really strong chemical smell up your nose and just wakes you up. Yeah, you should try it sometime if you ever have the chance.
I don't know. Have you done drugs?
Well, alcohol, ibuprofen. Never even tried a cigarette in terms of anything like hard drugs. I think that's just because when I was young, my mum used to smoke all the time and I hated it. So I was like, I'm never smoking.
Oh, really? Interesting. Yeah. Because a lot of people who grow up with parents who do whatever substances end up doing them too. So you can go either way, I guess. I'm lucky my parents didn't do that kind of stuff.
Like I lived on a council estate and everything, and there was just rough kids everywhere. I had to fight like every other week. So my mindset went, okay, I'm not gonna be like live like this when I'm older. I'm gonna, try hard and get away from that. Yeah, kids either rebel or they will follow in your footsteps. I was a rebellious one, I think.
Nice. Yeah, Yusuf, our friend, we interviewed him on another episode. He's the guy who owns that gym. He was telling me the same thing today. He was like, when I grew up, it was really tough. Like I didn't want to be the same as everyone else around me because they were just like dossing around, drinking, smoking, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I mean, like individually, I guess there'll be things that happen to you that kind of make you question stuff, I suppose, or just get fed up with things. And that happened to me a couple of times.
But I'm a lot more secure now. I'm an adult. Like when I was young, there was nothing to really do. This is before I found tricking or lifting or anything like that. So I just used to go down the skate park like every day, skateboarding. And obviously as my friends got older, they all started smoking and doing drugs down the skate park. I like had no part of it, but it used to bother me that they did it. I was like, oh, why are they doing that? But I still skated with them every day and just didn't do it. Now I'm older and realize that it's actually quite normal for everyone to do these things. I just let them do it. I'm happy to be friends with them and whatever. And I can still make my own choices and not be pressured to do anything. So I'm a lot more comfortable with it now.
Right. Yeah. I think parenting, man, and this is digressing a lot from the subject, but that's what makes these conversations so good. I think parenting has taken a back seat in, this generation, maybe the last generation, millennials too, my generation. And it's not okay. Like we really need to be setting a better example for our children. So as much as, as much as there may be the same amount of people, if not more, out there who aren't making, the social media waves and showing us how stupid we all are as a species, I still feel like there's a lot more that we could be doing to just give our kids a better sense of direction, principles, morals, all that kind of stuff. Because ultimately, you said it earlier, we might not survive our our generation may not make it out, including every other living thing on this planet. So, we might as well start now.
That's why I'm going to Mars, bro. Got to get off this planet.
Yeah, we talked about it.
It's what every government kind of is aware of and needs to solve, but it's just too many people and with too many different views to do it. Like, everyone's going to have a different view on what the right approach is to make sure we continue.
Yeah.
It's hard.
There's a lot of different viewpoints out there. Like, there's a lot of people that'll agree with you, Clement. Like, I would agree with you too on that, but there's just a huge, large group of people that believe in a more progressive approach or a different way of raising their kids, or letting their kids choose their gender or choose what they believe.
Yeah, don't start
how they feel. And I know that's a rabbit hole for you, so I won't dive into it. But I don't think you should be giving your kids too much freedom at an age where their brain's not even developed, so they can't make a good, conscious, critical decision for themselves yet. And where you should be guiding them and not letting them make that choice yet. So
yeah,
I don't know, but that's everyone's choice and viewpoint. So when you have such a diverse group of people out there, it becomes really difficult to say this is what we should do for society, because there's just a large group of people that won't agree with you on that.
Yeah, maybe this is just the way we're supposed to go, man. Maybe this is our way out. We had a good run while we were around. Yeah, but Brian, I mean, not to drag this on, but I'll just say Douglas Murray, who is the author of Madness of Crowds. I don't know if you know him, but he's a very interesting guy. And he basically says there are a bunch of people who are, and this is the far left people, right? I don't want to make this political, but I'll just say there's a lot of people today who are angry at the system, angry at their lives, angry at what's going on, and they want to tear it all down. But we worked so hard to create this way of living and this kind of at least functioning civilization. And what they don't yet understand is if you take it down, regardless of how broken it might seem, it's a lot worse when it doesn't even exist in the first place. And we need to try to get them to learn that lesson without dragging everyone else into it. So that was basically what he was saying. And I agree with him. I think hopefully somehow there's a way we can get out of this and have everybody on the same page. But yeah, that's probably another conversation. Sorry to drag you into that, Hadyn. I don't know where Brandon's gone, but we should...
I'm back.
Probably
Sorry.
wrap this up. You just disappeared.
My internet was out there for like a couple of minutes. I heard bits of what you said. It's back now.
Oh, you can. Yeah, don't worry. It was like a rant. I was having a rant, basically.
I could hear your rants. Don't worry.
My liberal
the cleaning
rant.
lady was knocking on the door, so I had to go tell her to fuck off for an hour.
What's next for you? Like, so Hadyn, when is this? When is the powerlifting
meet? It's in May the 15th. It's like a big fitness expo that's called Body Power. So that's like, I think they have like thousands and thousands of guests, and everyone will try and advertise their supplements and whatever. They'll have seminars. They'll have all different kind of everything to do with fitness, and it will be there in front of a lot of people, so which is good because hopefully all my friends can come and I can have someone film me, and it gives me a long time to train. That's the goal for now, and then I'll reevaluate what I want to do after that. When it's summer, I tend to just skateboard, do flips, hang around outside with my friends, and just try and enjoy myself. So probably a bit of that at some point. Cool.
Well, I hope that I know you're going to do a great job. You're probably going to do it. I know that. But anyone who's watching, where can they find you online so that they can follow you and see your stuff?
So my Instagram, I think it's just Hadyn Wiseman. My first name's spelled a bit strange. It's Hadyn. And then I also post on YouTube fairly regularly. And again, it's just Hadyn Wiseman there as well.
Dude, it's been a real pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for coming on and having that chat with us.
Yeah, thank you, man.